Tim Laurent, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the August 15, 2019 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3, alongside Commissioner Bill Rippon, who represents District 1, and Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First item of business, please.
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
6 items on the consent agenda.
Move for approval as presented.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Under pooled cash, debt service, and event center, Security Bank of Kansas City, EFT totaling $5,658,556.80 is for the COP payment, including $2,399,750, which is for the PBC debt on the event center renovation. Under Sheriff, Axion Enterprises LLC, $37,440 is for 3-year fleet camera payment. Total vouchers for August 14th, $6,484,719.75. And I move that we approve the vouchers.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, Bond Council number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2019-57, requesting that Shawnee County, Kansas Public Building Commission issue its revenue bonds in an estimated amount of $10 million to finance additions, improvements, furnishings, and equipping parks and recreation improvements.
Good morning, Bob Perry. This resolution and the resolution which is for the PDC, which follows later today, will just start the process to initiate potential financing of the proposed park improvements out there at 21st and Urish. This one in particular for the County Board of County Commissioners requests the PBC to issue its PBC revenue bonds an estimated amount of $10 million. And the reason why I suggest we will go through the PBC route is we will have the same rating that we would have with our general obligation bonds, which presently is AA1. Investors look at the PBC revenue bonds like a backdoor GO, basically, so we will have the lowest possible interest cost we can get if and when we go into the market. The PBC resolution will need to be passed, approved, published once a week, 2 consecutive weeks, and then there'll be a 30-day protest following the second publication. And this is just starting the process so that we can get it rolling down the road. Since I go in to get a new hip next Tuesday, I'll be out until maybe mid-September.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of activity in the markets.
It's a little different, Bob.
Yeah, it's interesting. Questions for our bond counsel? Okay, I entertain any public comment, if there is any on this issue today. Then I'll move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion made to adopt the resolution by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries 2-1. Commissioner Cook dissents. Next item, please.
Item C, Parks and Recreation number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-291-2019 with India Association of Topeka for usage of Gage Park facilities and parkland with expenses offset by a $500 special event fee and a $1,510 donation to the Parks for All Foundation.
Good morning, Commissioner. Sean Osborne, Parks and Recreation. The item before you is an event contract with the India Fest. This Indian Fest has taken place at Gage Park for quite some time, and it does bring a lot of individuals out to Gage Park that might not go to Gage Park, but they come for this event. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, it's a growing event too all right. Any questions for Sean about India Fest?
I move that we approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item,
Thank you.
please.
Item C2, consider approval of request to revise project budget for Hughes Park to include concrete for a replacement sidewalk with ADA accessible walkway, concrete pads, and the resurfacing of pickleball courts at a cost of $257,350, utilizing excess reserve funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. Yes, this morning we're here today to actually make some amendments to a project budget that you've already approved. It's become clear to us that we need to do some additional work at Hughes Park on the pickleball courts as well as some concrete work. And I have put together a short PowerPoint to kind of show you what we're talking about. This is a photo of the pickleball courts. You can see we've got some cracking concrete and obviously needs to be resurfaced. Another photo there. I will add that our staff has been working with the pickleball community over there to do some maintenance on this to get it looking a little better for the senior games, which are coming up. Our goal was to try to do this resurfacing before those games in September, but the contractors this is their busy time, so we couldn't get them in here before that date. Another picture here. You can see at the top, that's a low spot where the water collects. That's that will also be fixed during this resurfacing. Some concrete photos here. Not looking too good. So that's what we're requesting, is to expand that budget, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions for the Parks Director? Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Is the sidewalk the responsibility of the county or the responsibility of the city?
It's my understanding that if it's in park property, it's our responsibility, but I can look into that and make sure that's the case.
Okay. I mean, it obviously needs to be repaired, it needs to be done. But
Right.
is it just whose responsibility is it?
I think if we look at those slides, I think that's a good question. One of them is clearly a sidewalk that runs along the street. The other one is a sidewalk that runs through the middle of the park. So maybe there is some questions to be asked about that.
Yes.
Back in September, we had talked about the $3 million of excess revenue.
Yeah.
There were a number of projects that were approved by the commission unanimously to move forward with establishing project budgets. What are you going to be taking away? What projects will not be done since you're increasing the budget for Hughes Court?
Actually, we had a little money remaining, and so I'm glad you asked that question. This will exhaust all but 1% of that excess reserve funding. So there'll still be a little bit left, but we had funds to do this.
All right, very good.
Commissioner Rippon?
No questions.
Good question on the sidewalks. The city has a 50/50 program that we may be able to
Good point.
look into. I don't know. Anything else?
I move that we approve.
I'll second. Motion made to approve by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item C3, consider out-of-state travel for 3 employees to attend the National Recreation and Park Association's annual conference being held in Baltimore, Maryland, to provide employees with educational opportunities at a cost not to exceed $2,260 per employee from the department's operating budget, and authorization and execution of contract C-292-2019 through C-294-2019, education and training expense agreements for 3 employees.
Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. Commissioners, this is our premier annual conference in the parks and recreation industry. We would like to send 3 employees there. They will, once they return, we will ask them to write a report and present it on what they've learned. I think it's a great opportunity to not only network and find out what other agencies are doing across the country, but it'll be a great educational opportunity for these 3 individuals. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions? I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Tim. Next item, please.
Item D, Public Works, number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2019-58 to utilize filing an application with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment for a loan not to exceed $7 million for the design and construction of replacement or rehabilitation pump stations, collection systems, and treatment plant equipment for the Sherwood Regional Wastewater System.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. The Sherwood Regional Wastewater System is reaching that age and condition where I think it's important that Public Works take some action and be proactive on either replacing components of the system or rehabilitating certain components. The age of the system is what it is. Condition. How do I know what the condition of the system is or important components? Well, as you know, the city of Topeka both operates and maintains the Sherwood wastewater treatment system via contract with the county. And via conversations between Public Works and the city of Topeka operating staff, they have provided us feedback in where they think we should spend our priority dollars. They operate the system. If anybody knows about the system, the condition of the system, condition of certain components of the system, it's the city of Topeka. In addition, in 2014, Shawnee County paid to have the oldest parts of the collection system cameraed, TV'd. And so we have a pretty good understanding of the condition of the collection portion of the system. So with that, Public Works has developed a priority list of projects. Okay, how do we pay for them? That's really why I'm here, is to ask the Commission to approve a KDHE loan for $7 million. It's a 20-year loan. The $7 million would be an absolute maximum amount. The funds would only be drawn as we need them to pay for design or construction. The loan covers just about everything except for land acquisition. That would have to come out of our Sherwood fund account directly. Now, a $7 million loan. On the surface, it's a big deal. But remember, these repairs, these replacements will have a service life well in excess of 20 years. Loan repayments, they will come out of the Sherwood fund account. It's 100% user fee funded. No taxpayer dollars are involved. We would structure the repayments so that the Sherwood fund account will, we have some existing obligations that we need to pay off. So the loan repayment will be arranged so that it's compatible with these existing obligations. Now, what projects are we talking about? Again, these projects have been identified via input from the city of Topeka and our camera project that we did in 2014. So, up here on the top left of the screen, you have project numbers. What we want to do is we want to group some of these isolated locations into projects. One of the projects would be we would spend some money on the teacup at the treatment plant. The teacup, what it does is use centrifugal force. It looks like a teacup, and it drops the solids, the grit, from the waste flow. That is in need of replacement. Pump stations. We have a pump station here, 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 here. Those 4 pump stations, I call them the easy ones. They're easy to get to. We would group them together and we replace those pump stations. These two pump stations here and here, those are the difficult pump stations. They're next to the lake, they're in people's backyards, they're hard to get to. Those would replace in tandem. And then finally, again, from the camera work that we did in 2014, we would replace or rehabilitate a portion of the collection system in this area. Finally, down the road, after we did a very low-cost, relatively low-cost condition assessment of the treatment plant, we would go in there and spend money to bring it up to latest KDHE standards. So with that, I'm open to take your questions. Again, $7 million loan. These are projects that are priorities. They can't happen later. We need to get on these now. In my mind, the Sherwood infrastructure is no different than roads and bridges. We need to plan for replacement. We need to consider funding, and it's not something because it's below ground we can forget about.
Excuse me, Jim Kraus, Shawnee County Councilor. For purposes of clarification, you're not authorizing the loan today. You're adopting a resolution authorizing the Public Works Director to apply for the loan. And that would kick off a process where we would have a public meeting in the Sherwood area, and we've already been setting that up. We've set that up for September 10th at 7 p.m.
That's right.
To give notice and to give an opportunity for the public in that area to give their input on the plan and the loan and all of that. Then we would come back here for a public hearing before the Board of County Commissioners, who sit as the public body in charge of the sewer district, to finally authorize Kurt to go ahead and obtain the loan. So this is the first step in the process, authorizing him to move forward with that overall process.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we work with the improvement district. We have public input. The user fees are going to have to be monitored and looked at very carefully. I know we went years without increasing those fees, and I'm concerned about that. This sounds like it's just like a line of credit we would have that we could call on if needed be. Is it interest-free?
No, there will be a low interest. The last I heard, Jim Martin has been assisting us with this. The last he checked, it was 2.19%.
Okay. Okay. Are there other questions? Commissioner Cook?
The city of Topeka operates the Sherwood system?
Yes, operates and maintains, and then the county is billed for that service.
Okay, but there's a Sherwood Improvement District.
Yeah, that covers roads, signing. They're not really responsible for the regional treatment system.
So why is the county involved at all?
Because, again, as Jim said, the county commission is responsible for the overall operation of the sewer system.
So who's going to be responsible for paying the $7 million?
Shawnee County would be paying it, but the funding would come from the Sherwood funding account, which is user fee funded.
So if we were to look at that map, all those houses that are on that map, they're the ones that are going to be paying the $7 million.
Absolutely,
Okay.
over a 20-year loan.
So that's why we need to have this meeting out in Sherwood, so that if you are buying a house or you own a house out in Sherwood, you know that you're going to have responsibility for the next 20 years to pay back that $7 million.
Correct. But can I add that the alternative is extremely undesirable? If we have a failure out there, it will be catastrophic.
All right. Okay.
Well, on that
I
positive
think
note.
it's just important that folks out in Auburn or Silver Lake or Rossville or Dover or up north in Tecumseh, wherever you may be in the county, you know who's responsible for this system.
I mean, if a homeowner calls me and says they have sewage in their basement because of a failure of one of these components, to me, that's catastrophic, because it will cost a lot of money to fix on an emergency basis. Yes, Bill?
Commissioner Bill.
The KDH loan, you said it will not cover land acquisition. Do you see any land acquisition as part of any of these?
Absolutely. You know, we're going to have to buy temporary easements.
Okay.
We're going to buy permanent construction easements. Yes, there is going to be land acquisition. And,
Will that be rolled into this district as well?
well, it'll be paid for through the Sherwood Fund account. We can't use loan proceeds, though,
Okay.
to pay for it.
All right. Yeah, I would rather have a bridge go out than have a pump station. At
Yes.
least you can reroute traffic.
Yes.
But when a pump station goes out,
It's a mess.
Yeah,
You're exactly
so-
right. Any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I would move that we approve this authorization to, I guess, to apply for a grant. Is that what we're doing?
It's just a loan
A
application.
loan application?
Again, like Jim said, you're just authorizing our ability to apply for that loan.
I would move that we approve.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Kurt, well
Yeah,
done.
thank
Well
you.
done. Next item, please.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for department heads or anyone else to address the commission. We have no sign-up sheets and we have no time limits, so come right on up.
I guess I'll take the honor.
All right?
Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. I just wanted to announce to the public and to the community that we have moved traffic from the north side of Southeast 29th to the south side. And the south side is, new pavement is in place. With this transfer or the switching of traffic, the intersections at Granger are open, and the intersection at West Edge Road is open to right in, right out. That means if you're going eastbound on Southeast 29th, you can take a right and go southbound on West Edge Road. If you're going northbound on West Edge Road, you can turn right and go eastbound on Southeast 29th. No left turns will be allowed. Later in the year, when we get the signal system in place and both sides, the north half and the south half of the pavement are in place, only then will West Edge open to full traffic movements.
Thank you for the update, Kurt.
Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. I just wanted to take a minute. We had a citizen make a post on a Facebook account recognizing Lyle Bausch, he's our park maintenance supervisor, for his response time to a concern that she had at Brookfield Park. There was an issue there with some limbs down and some things that needed to be cleaned up. And she took the time to note that she contacted him on a Friday afternoon, and he was out there on a Tuesday morning with several staff. They trimmed all the trees, they picked up all the debris, and she felt like she wanted to recognize him. This happens every day, so this isn't anything special, but I just wanted to come up and say, as summer winds down, I just wanted to recognize Lyle, Chris Beaton, who's our horticulture supervisor, Tom Hammer, who's our natural areas supervisor, for all the work they've done, that they continue to do day in and day out, that doesn't really get recognized, but they do a fabulous job, and I think when you look at some of the parks we have here in Shawnee County, I think we are so fortunate, and I think they look the way they do in large part to the efforts of those three individuals and their staff. I mean, really, the credit goes to their staff. I invited them to be here, but as fate would have it, they're working on a project this morning. And so they said they would come. I said, no, you go ahead and do what you need to do. But I just wanted to take a minute to recognize them and thank them for their work. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I'm glad you did that.
John Fisher, 3517 Southwest Wanamaker Court. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Commissioner Archer is my representative on the board. First off, I'd like to say I appreciate a young lady, Becky Neoshi, and her section who took care of just a country boy moving to the city to learn city rules. And I thought everything was taken care of, and we couldn't find any more documentation, but her staff of Karen and a young lady that sits in front of her went ahead and found the paperwork that I needed to go ahead and complete my little file. Second subject. A prior subject was mentioned about the sewer system going ahead and getting public input. There's an old saying, a squeaky wheel gets all the grease. There's another saying from the country, in Topeka, there are 4 wheels on the cart called Topeka. The community center, it was a squeaky wheel that said we have a $10 million bond. There's if I remember correctly, in Robert's Rule of Orders, a prior passage of a amendment or a statement can be amended by the commission to put it on a vote, because there's an election coming up and the other 3 wheels might be more squeaky than the one who said we wanted $10 million. I raised a family by the grace of God, 8 children with basically 1 income. I like to be frugal. I don't want to go in debt. And I would like to try and protect the commissioners as saying, what does the public, the other 3 wheels of Topeka, really want for this facility of $10 million bond? I know those are big bucks, but I'd like to protect the commission to raise the question in Robert's Rule of Orders of just, even though trying to get the lowest rate, can it be put in a question to a vote on the ballot? Just raising a question, the ball is in your court because you're the ones representing the public. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Cook?
Later this morning, we have a groundbreaking at Hills, expansion of their facility, and look forward to attending. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Rippon?
Nothing to report.
I would like to remind everyone that immediately following this meeting, we have a meeting of the Public Building Commission. Next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
There's not a need, so we are going to adjourn this meeting and go into session of the Public Building Commission. Okay. I would turn to the county counselor to discuss the resolution briefly, and then to our bond counsel, and see where we go from here.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Kraus, Shawnee County Counselor again, and I will defer mostly to bond counsel on this. Bond counsel prepared this item, but this is the resolution through the Public Building Commission to be issued by the Public Building Commission to go ahead and authorize the issuance of the bonds as described in that process. There is the bond describes, the resolution describes the process, describes the protest period, and the threshold for a protest of that being 5% of the electors of the county, and all of the other issues, who's going to issue it, and all of that. And I'll defer to Bob on any other details.
And we're
beyond
using
that.
this process to capture a lower interest rate, and this is the process we went through for the Stormont Vale Event Center funding. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we've got a record here. Back in 17, we created the PBC in order to have a vehicle to finance the Expo Center improvements with to begin with. And we did that because we were going to use the sales tax revenues from the Hudson sales tax share for the Expo Center improvements. During the preceding months of 17, before we created the Expo Center, The investment bankers and Betty and I were getting snapshots and looking at snapshots of the differences between interest cost of revenue bonds, the PBC revenue bonds, or sales tax revenue bonds. And the difference basically was sales tax revenue bonds were carrying anywhere from 0.25% to 1.5% interest rate difference being higher than a PBC revenue bond. And so that was one of the reasons why we suggested that you create the PBC and we finance the Expo Center improvements with that, because over the 15-year term of that particular issue, we're going to reduce our interest costs by, a couple $1 million. So that was the vehicle that we chose because it provided us the same rating as AA1 as our GO bonds. We're suggesting you do the same thing here for these Parks and Recreation improvements. Will have basically the same as the GO rating. It does provide for a protest period of 30 days following the second publication. So once this is passed and approved, it'll be published once a week, 2 consecutive weeks, which then kicks in the 30-day protest period. This just starts the process, is all this is doing. You're going to have to give us some plans and specs and some better numbers and whatnot so we can have something to basically talk to the rating agency about, et cetera, et cetera. One of the reasons why the PBC is a good vehicle is if we're going to do a straight lease, which is an annual appropriation lease, most rating agencies and most investors look at park and rec improvements as non-essential governmental services. We're not doing fire, we're not doing police, we're not doing roads, we're not doing sewers. We're doing lifestyle improvements, which are important, but they're not essential governmental services when it comes to investors and rating agencies.
Okay. Questions for our bond counsel? I'll move to adopt the resolution and wish you well in your surgery.
Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that.
Second.
Motion made to adopt the resolution by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Yes.
Are we not going to take public comment?
I assumed that if there was public comment, it would have been when we discussed the resolution or administrative communications. So I don't plan to at this point. Motion made to adopt the resolution by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries 2-0. We are adjourned. Thank you.
We're not going to take public comment. Carol,